What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 21st Man, where I am your host for the 21st Man curated shows where we are redefining masculinity through our 4 pillars of modern manhood: integrity, community, entrepreneurialism, and you guessed it, mental health. The days of the table talks will be shifting, where we will be introducing 2 new mind-blowing, perspective-changing shows, Author's Corner and Man Theory. Coming up next.
Hi, my name is Derek Lott, and welcome to the Author's Corner. This show is curated by the 21st Man.
And I'm Antonio Maxwell, a professional barber, author, and motivational speaker.
And we are glad to be here talking about nothing else but writing and books and knowledge is power. The book I've written is called Say It Well. And in Say It Well, you're going to learn about how to become a better communicator. Effective communications are the most powerful skill you can work on, bar none. It's the only skill that impacts your personal, professional, private, and public ways of life, spiritual and social. No other skill can impact that many areas of your life.
Praise God. And Antonio Maxwell, my book is called I Am a King. Basically, I Am a King is a book concerning men and how, God has called us to be kings. We are the kings of the earth, and he said he's the king of kings. So my book is basically trying to motivate men to be the kings that God has called them to be. Throughout the book, I talk about testimonials of things that I've gone through as a young man, and how I gave my life to Christ at 21 years old, and what God has done in my life since then. So it's a very, very powerful book. I encourage you to pick it up if you get the opportunity to. It's a very, very powerful book that I would, like to get in the hands of all men. I really recommend all men to read this book because, it's a lot of things going on in the world today that's affecting men. Men are not being the men that God has called us to be. And because of that, man, we are falling by the wayside, because of that. So, if you can, if you get a chance, pick that book up at Amazon. You also can get it from me as well. We're gonna flow with that one.
So Antonio, talk to me about why you wrote a book.
Well, for me, many people that know me and know that what I've gone through in my life was always, and seeing where I am today was always, telling me you need to write a book, Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until I went through a divorce, very traumatic experience in my life that kind of birthed that book inside me. And once that happened, man, I took off and just went to writing.
Yeah, and a lot of times when something happens in our life traumatically, we get a story out of that. And writing a book is the best place to archive that story to help future generations, your family, your friends. It's a very powerful communication tool. Now, one of the other things I often talk about is, you just can't go about writing a book. Sometimes it's inspiration, like in your situation. Mm-hmm. But what would you tell people that want to write a book?
The first thing I'll tell you is that it's very inexpensive. I believe that is one of the problems that stop people from writing a book, because they think it's very expensive when it's not. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, the hardest part about writing your book is you sitting down and writing it. That is the hardest part. Right. If I tell people, like, how much it costs me to write my book, people mouth just drop to the ground because they don't believe it. But it's very easy, and I've kind of taken it upon myself to kind of motivate people and kind of mentor people in writing their own book.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And for me, I'm representing the older generation. So me, writing is about legacy. Yeah. It's about leaving my family, my friends, my future generations something that they can build upon. Yeah, some wisdom, some knowledge, because we know that knowledge is power. And when we have power, man, we have the ability to change our footsteps. We have the ability to create a future for ourselves, right? And it sounds like, you've got some other work in the works as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, I just finished my second book, which is called Faith and Provision in the Wilderness. Wow. And that is basically, it's a continuation from my first book, just basically explaining how I was healed from my situation that I went through and how God restored me. So that book will be out next month, actually in September. So looking forward to putting that out.
That's beautiful. Now, we're sitting here talking to two authors, Antonio and myself, and we're coming from two different vantage points. He's writing about his experiences, things he's gone through, and I've got a resource that's going to help you be a more effective communicator. In any situation, there is material that you can leave for future generations, that legacy. So don't be afraid of writing that book. That book that's in you, you need to write it, because I need to hear it. What do you think?
Man, I totally agree with that, man. I tell people all the time, man, everybody has a story.
Absolutely.
And everybody's story need to be heard. And I think it's very important that if you have that book in you, that, let's get that thing out.
So ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it here from two authors coming from two different vantage points, from personal circumstances and stories to resources that are going to help you become a better communicator. Whatever your story, whatever your message, don't delay. You just heard it's not going to cost you a lot. You just need to get to writing. Hey, Antonio, how can people follow you?
So you can follow me on Facebook. I love Facebook. Facebook at Antonio Maxwell. You can also, if you want to purchase the book, you can find it on Amazon.com.
Same here. I'm on Instagram, Derek C. Lott. You can also go to my website, DerekCLott.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and anywhere in the social stratosphere. And don't forget, you can also buy my book, Say It Well, on Amazon.com. We'll see you next time on the Author's Corner, curated by 21st Men. Peace.
Now coming up, our table talk on the pressures of being a man. Roll them up.
Welcome to the 21st Men, where we are redefining masculinity through the 4 pillars of modern manhood. Masculinity being one of them, integrity, community, and entrepreneurialism. This is your host for the Table Talk discussions, Vince Kander, and welcome our cast. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, starting with Mr. Christian.
Christian, again, an educator for Duval County Public Schools and a professor at Flagler College.
Rashad, independent insurance agent and pastor.
Shamari, freelance videographer.
Luis Green, business owner.
Antonio Maxwell, professional barber, motivational speaker, and author.
In addition to our regular cast members, we have a guest. Beyond being a freelance videographer, what else do you do? Who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into our topic tonight.
Oh wow, hot seat. Okay, I'm from Detroit, born and raised. The reason I got connected with you is because I'm very interested in helping men be the best men they can be from a biblical standpoint. I grew up in a broken home, and I understand the various, I'll call them minefields of manhood. I think men are desperate to learn what actual true masculinity is, and they need true men, and from my perspective, biblical men, to teach them how to be proper men.
I appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that
Perspective.
Definitely, and I love how we can all come together and each have our own individualized reasons for being and wanting manhood to be redefined, right? Yeah. And I love that. We all have our different stories. We all have everything that makes us who we are on the inside of us and surrounding us, right? From the people in our lives to whom we want to provide for and whom we want to protect. So speaking of which, that is our conversation tonight. We're talking about providing and we're talking about protecting. What are the things that come into your mind? Anybody can speak, but that when you think about protecting something as a man.
I mean, I think it really takes into 2 different roles. I think it's the financial piece, right? Being a financial protector to be able to overcome any financial burden that hits your family, right? And then the more practical sense is being a protector physically, right? Like,
what does that look like?
So
smash your face in if you mess with my girl.
come on, somebody, come on.
That doesn't happen.
That means you gotta look like this.
One, heck yes. Number 2, we don't have time to be chasing around all the girls you deal with. So,
Not true. Not true at all. Okay.
So, I mean, you're right. They're all surface. I got you. So, joking. But
So, yeah, I mean, on a real note is, I think the biggest one that I think we deal with, and I think across the board, doesn't matter really where you're at financially, I think the financial piece, right?
Okay.
And there's different facets of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can make a good amount of money, but if your significant other wife makes more than you, then sometimes that's an issue. Right? I was like, oh man, like your wife makes more than you.
Or at least culture definitely says.
Yeah, culture, right? Yeah, of course, culture.
Dominant culture, that is.
Yeah. So
Well, what about that? So does that delve into the providing or the protecting or both?
I think it really goes into both, and I think it also goes into. I mean, it's a person by person basis. It's so hard to generalize that.
It's definitely both. Guns are expensive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, man. Ladies have a level, especially in today's day and age, a level of wanting to make more and to be equal to men.
Sure. Yeah.
And in reality, they should be, right? But as a culture and as a norm, men feel most in the providing sense in control when they make more. What do you think? What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things I noticed that I feel like in today's society, man, you know, being married, I was married for 12 years, but in today's society, like, I don't really think anybody's really comparing, and in marriages, I don't think people are comparing too much, because it takes two people to make a living nowadays. When you're married and you have kids, I don't think one person sitting back saying, I make more than you, ha ha ha. Man, it takes two people to run a family nowadays, you know? And it's not too many homes unless people got a lot of money to where only one person can work.
And shout out
you're a millionaire or
Shout
whatever.
out to the single mothers and single fathers. My mama
Yeah.
took and raised me.
Well,
See,
I'd have
I
to-
hate to do it, man, because I like him a lot. And I
Go
gotta
ahead,
disagree
go
with him.
ahead.
Shatter him, Christian. Shatter him.
Show him white privilege.
So
I was coming out swinging, Christian. Come on.
I think we are in the age of comparison, and I think that's hyped up by social media. And I think
Okay.
it's a lot of people are keeping up with the Joneses, and they're going, "Look what they have! I want what they have! Look what they, I want to be better than them." And to an extent, comparison isn't a bad thing because it should raise your level of standard of living and make you progress as a human being. However, you're right on the point of you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people if you're content with your happiness and your family unit that
Okay.
you were talking about. So that's just I think it's tough right now in the society we live in.
So here's I'm sorry to cut you off. So just talking about and piggybacking off what you said, no one's really comparing unless you make a lot of money.
No, but let me
Is
correct.
that what you said?
I was only saying about in a marriage.
Right.
Oh,
In
yes,
a marriage.
right.
So
In the
I
ideal
wasn't
marriage
really talking
context
about
of marriage. But in context of marriage, your context of marriage is different than another person. Some might say that the legality of the United States may not constitute a marriage. Their marriage is their relationship. They've been together for 20 years, but they're not legally married, but in their mind they are. Let's talk about the size
who
of a
says
relationship.
so? Somebody does.
I do. I completely think that in some instances that could be a statement. But in a relationship as a whole, do you think that maybe that might not be outwardly displayed, but it's subconsciously displayed, even in a marriage, from the, household duties to not just from money, because everything has a value. So from household duties to financial obligation to when the man is down and not really doing much or not working. Have you ever experienced where the woman in your life might be like, say some slick stuff or sly stuff to you about money? Because at the end of the day, I think women want you to be the provider and the protector. Have you ever experienced that?
Well, I don't think women, because in the age that we're in right now, started back from when men were out making the money, and then they started this. What was the time called when the women go out, make the money, and help out with the family?
The Great Depression?
Yeah, the Great Depression. Ever since then, man, there's been this fight for women to say that we're just like men. We can do what you can do. We can do it. We can even do it better.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where we at today, in today's time. Where women are trying to be what men are.
Do you think that's healthy?
No, not healthy at all, because I strongly believe that men are the head of their home. I feel like God created us to be the head, and I think that women are getting out of line.
Right.
And I believe that they're getting out of line because men are allowing women to get out of line. We're not being the kings and we're not being the men.
I agree
that
with
God
that
is calling
notion
us
that
to
you
be.
just said.
And I want to add to that because
Hold on real quick. I want to hear what our guest has to say about that convo real quick.
Oh man, I think it's a complicated.
Women getting out of line.
No, on everything he said. But I'm personally in agreement with what you said. So, but I'd like
think-
to hear more.
I think in a sense, women are trying to be where men are, but I think innately they do want a man that is a leader, that is the head of the household.
Definitely.
Right.
Because one of the problems we have in today's world is that women have achieved a certain level of financial and educational equity with men, but they still want to marry up.
Yeah.
So like you have this crop of women
that's good.
that are like, I have the degree, I have the money,
Yeah.
but I still want a man
Yeah,
They just need that
More.
dick.
Yeah.
that has a
That was like a.
I mean,
I
that's
know,
a piece that you can't get rid of, even if you're.
I can't repeat it.
I'll say, I think, really with what you're saying, I think that there's a lot of truth in that, and a lot of truth in what you're saying, or the question that you're posing is, is there like a lack of respect almost where you get like these digs and stuff like that?
Right.
And I think if we really, from a man's standpoint, as a leader, right, if we take a step back and we think, what kind of culture have I built in my house?
Okay.
Right? Because if we're the leaders of the home, we have to take responsibility for the things that happen in our
Definitely,
homes, right?
yeah.
Okay.
We can't always, change the things that happen, but how we respond is another thing, right? So for instance, me and my wife, just the other day actually, we had gotten into like a little argument. There's like a little shot here and there, and what I had to do is take a step back and think, what have I done that made her feel uncomfortable?
Right.
Right? Where now she's projecting some type of insecurity or anger towards me, right? And it really starts from me, and it comes from as a protector when they do not feel protected. And that's the thing, is like when there's hostility and they're taking jabs and they're taking shots, it's their way to control something, to protect that piece of them that says, hey, like I'm going to take that jab because there needs to be some type of change.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's always healthy, but I think that's where it derives from.
You know what? It's funny that you talk about that. So now we talk. Now you're really kind of delving into female protection, and the fact that at the end of the day, that household, that's that woman's territory. If you step into her territory, and in any way, shape, or form, and disturb it, I feel like as a man, you're immediately ejected, and it's and that is what I personally feel. But here's my question to you about the household and the man being in the house. We all know that, especially in the communities of color, like our fathers are not always in our homes. So I grew up without one. So the concept of that. Let's talk about that for a minute. As a protector, how did you learn how to be a protector and a provider?
I'll jump on this one, and we talked about this kind of earlier when we spoke. I learned how to protect myself from people in the hood, in the streets. So I looked to the gangbangers and the drug dealers for that kind of father figure, because I think boys have an innate desire to be trained to be men. And if a positive male role model isn't in the household, they'll find whoever.
They'll find it somewhere.
Right.
And if I'm a drug dealer, I got a nice car, I got money, people respect me, quotations. Fear me more than respect me.
Representation.
Yeah. They'll cleave to me because I have some semblance of what it takes to be a man. I'm financially able. People respect me. They look up to me as an example. Women want to be with me because I can provide a stable, quote unquote, stable home. I have a career. So I look to them like what a man should be.
And honestly, if you peel back the facets of legality, right, that is a leader. Right? I mean, if you changed it and you put a pharmaceutical drug in front of their hands and they succeeded in putting it into every company, they're leaders financially. So they are possessing those leadership qualities. Obviously, the context of legality now is a little tricky, Rashad.
But is that really in the home? That's more just in the idea of the mental space of a home, not necessarily the home in the general sense of the household. So you're right. You're touching on representation and where you got it.
Because the thing is, at least because my dad was in the house, but I didn't respect him as a leader because mom was the leader. The problem was when I got to be like 6 foot and outweighed her, she's not running me like she could when I was a little boy. So now, I'm kind of running wild and I'm figuring out manhood by hook or by crook.
You must used to get whoopings. Because that's the only time that stops
stop
when she
across
ain't
the
running
face.
you no more.
Yeah, like
she can't whoop you no more.
when I get bigger than her and she can't hem me up with my collar.
And that almost puts them in, like for instance, you had an absentee father, right?
Yeah.
Rashad had an absentee father, so did you, and so did I. absentee parents, really. But
This is really
know-
interesting. Wait, you?
No, I had both my parents in the house.
This statistic is so real.
You had both of your
wild.
parents?
He had both of
Still,
his
still
parents.
married today. Yeah.
And you know what's even more unique if you think about the bigger picture of, talking about like what is the male role. Our mothers had to take up some of that male role. So my mom was a very strong white, the woman who, she adopted me because I was adopted.
Yeah.
So she adopted me, a strong white 27-year-old teacher, taking on 2 boys.
Not
13.
Christian, it was someone else.
Yes,
Not-
it wasn't
not
Christian.
his
Just
mother.
a teacher.
No, the only commonality is they're white.
I know you can self-identify whatever you want nowadays, but Christian didn't do that.
But she had to take on almost like that male dominant
Yeah.
figure, and inherently I kind of started taking on some of those, but with that I feel like I also took on some of the femininity. I know you guys are sad it's over, but hey, you can definitely join us next time here at the 21st Man, where we are redefining masculinity through the 4 pillars of modern manhood, which are mental health, integrity, community, and entrepreneurialism. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Like, share, comment, really comment a lot. We would love that. See you next time. That's a wrap.
All right, not so fast. We appreciate you staying with us. Now we're looking to do some amazing work in the Jacksonville area for creatives. So please stay tuned and watch this fundraiser video that we have for the We Create space. That's going to be a hub for photography, videography, podcasts. So please stay tuned. Watch it.
Welcome to the We Create space. I'm Vince with the 21st Men, and we're here to tell you a story. But first, let's go ahead and dive right in. We Create is a space for creatives, entrepreneurs, anything that you think you can build here. And the 21st Men has the professionals division, the community division, we have the on-campus division, in the classroom division, as well as our media division. You guys are familiar with that. So what we're doing now is we're branching out. So our professionals are on campus, in the classroom, and our community need a space to create. So welcome to We Create. So we're trying to develop this space to be a space for creatives to come and develop their craft, to be able to join forces, have a hub, and be able to create without any barriers and any limits. What does that look like? We're gonna have free videography classes, free photography classes, free videography studio, as well as a photography studio. A podcast studio that's not gonna cost you extra to use, as well as the editing that's involved with your podcast. What do you mean by not adding extra? Well, you have one set membership fee. Co-work spaces throughout the city of Jacksonville have membership fees. This is gonna act as a co-work space that offers so much more in that fee. So for $265 a month, you're able to acquire all of the free assets inside this space. So not only that, but you get to take that stuff home with you. You're gonna have licenses for Adobe, you're gonna get licenses for Microsoft, you're gonna be able to join our online platform to be able to be a part of something even while you're away. It's a beautiful thing, man. We can stay connected and stay energized together. So let us create with this We Create space. But we need you. In order to make this space happen for the creatives in the community of Jacksonville, we need up to $250,000. We're looking to raise $50,000 a month for the next 4 months. And anything we're short, we're looking to continue to fundraise for this space. This space is a beautiful space. It allows us to be able to offer the free classes to the community, elevate people's entrepreneurial skills while they get to continue to grow their creative skills. How can you help? Great question. So how you can help is you're gonna be able to go to the link in our bio on our Instagram at the 21st Men, and it's going to be our media division. So it's just at the 21st Men. There'll be a GoFundMe link in our bio, as well as our Facebook page. We'll have our GoFundMe listed there as well. And we would greatly appreciate your support in helping the 21st Men create something amazing for the community. Stay tuned.